had already agreed with the Lord. I've agreed with the Lord that I will not be single by my next birthday. That agreement with the Lord came before the proposal. Hi everyone, we are the Manuels. And in today's video, just like we promised the last time, we're going to talk about our wedding plannings and execution, how we were able to
navigate,
do our wedding without borrowing and then pressuring ourselves unnecessarily.
If you are looking to build a life rooted in purpose, connection, and joy.
Our wedding was post-COVID, and the world was gradually returning to normal. My sister wedded during COVID, so it was quite easier for them somehow, especially financially, because at that time a lot of people didn't even want to touch you.
And let me add to that one, you forgot that some of the things that they were exonerated from because of the COVID,
we paid for it. Yes, for example, some uncles and aunties that couldn't go to visit because of COVID.
When it was at all,
where did we not go? Where did we not go?
When it was not at all.
We left the city many times to go and see, and then we are glad we did, because that is honor in our culture. That is honor in our culture. And boom, at that time I must also say that you were not getting salary at that time because you were affected by the COVID. Where he was working, they decided to lay off some of their staff, and fortunately, I don't want to say fortunately, fortunately, because that job was draining. Forget, you cannot do that kind of work now. You cannot take that kind of job right now. Okay, so because he was not working at that time, it was difficult somehow. Humanly speaking, basically the funds were not there, and it was not like we had any uncle or auntie that say I will sponsor your wedding, that kind of thing. And
the agreement. Thank God.
Immediately I discovered that, probably I will talk about my journey one of these days. Immediately I discovered that part of God's plan for my life was that I'm going to get married. We started going through that journey, and I agreed with the Lord that I would not be single by my next birthday, which was in July. And he was proposing on my birthday that year, that's the COVID year. And I asked him, when do you want to marry? That was my first question, before going to think about it or pray about it, because I love using elimination method a lot as a person. I may not have the right answer, but I know how to remove the wrong one.
The great statistician. I celebrate you, man.
Calm down.
Take your onions, take your pepper and tomatoes.
So if he had said something like he's planning that by December next year we will marry, I would just tell him no. As far as I'm concerned, that's not God's will for me. We had already had an agreement. I'm not saying you should. I forced the Lord. I said we agreed together, and that I was going to get married before my next birthday. That's my birthday in 2021. So at the time he was saying, then he said the Lord said he should do it as fast as possible. I said, no one killed this brother, even though I didn't like, he was not my spec. That's it.
That was there.
Yes, that was there.
I've been specking the specking.
Yes. Yes, so you are the spec and the spectacle. We were having a major issue, and that's what I want us to start with. That major issue was to agree to do that wedding as simple as possible. we were having issue. I was having issue with this brother. Thank God for that. Thank God for our spiritual father and that service in showers. I want to say at this point, if you are around Abia State and you're around Umuahia, and you are looking for a place where you can grow, not just spiritually, mentally, socially.
Yeah.
In our family, we don't get rejected because we have sense. I'm telling you, if you're looking for such environment, we are interdenominational. This is not paid. This is not an advert. This is just us.
What has helped us?
Yes, this is what has helped us, and we want you to be part of it.
There's no how you can talk about our union,
our journey without mentioning Flame Family International.
And some of the services that really help.
Yes. So at this time, we were not agreeing. I didn't want us to do traditional marriage, like traditional wedding.
The event.
Yes, the event, the occasion.
The occasion.
I just wanted him to pay my dowry. Then we planned the wedding as simple as possible. At that point, he was the youth president of Umuahia Diocese. He was a lot of things to a lot of people. So he said his wedding cannot be that quiet. His wedding cannot be that calm. And we're just going back and forth. My man, the money are not there now. We don't have the luxury to do 1 million plus wedding at the time. And you're here thinking about what people will say. I remember he said one of the days, he said, "Okay, this is called 1K more kanja." That is said in English.
Thank God.
That it will now look like he's the poorest among the poor. Look at what somebody that God has blessed with a good sister that is thinking well. Look at
that people are praying for.
That people are praying for.
Very understanding.
My brother name problem, name issues. So we kept going back and forth, and a lot of things. Both his family, he was just saying his family needs this occasion, and I understood. But then I was not willing to go into a venture that after I would not be thinking of how to pay. I cannot live with that. I can't. As a person, I don't like that pressure. I don't like that pressure of paying debt. So I didn't want that. I also remember he was living in one room inside one federal hospital around us. Not one room safe, like yes, one room.
No, one mini.
I'm here, we are public yard or something like that. Although they were not plenty, but at least it was one room, no kitchen, general toilet, that kind of place. That was where he was living at the time, and he was telling me that he's going to pack out
and get a bigger place.
Like every young man with sense, you know. And I didn't want that. Can you talk about
it?
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't know that there are plenty of things. Like when I've always been telling her that I owe her a lot. When I start paying her, because I've not even started paying her. When I start paying her, there are so many things I would pay her for. Actually, I didn't understand it that a lady was coming into a young man's life and she was not bothered about the apartment. For me, I knew it was kind of it was very close at the time. That place was close to where we used to fellowship. So, brethren, there are times that someone come around and you see 10 brethren inside the house. You see 15, you see 20, all of them. Even some persons, when they're coming for fellowship, they will take their clothes. Maybe they were very busy at work, they could not get some, so they'll take extra clothes and then come to the house there and change. So
it was like a secretary.
Yes. So I was now asking this young lady, can she cook with this? There are ones that she will meet, and then there are ones that she could also. I knew what was involved. I asked, will she be able to cope with this? And then knowing that she's a very popular person, at least around our own environment. Very popular person, well-known person. And then I was thinking many things in my head. I was thinking plenty things. What about visitors that will come around wanting to see Mama D, and then this is the house. So I think we'll talk about the lessons later. But these are the things I was considering. It wasn't as though I had the funds there, but actually these things were going on in my mind, and I was so worried about.
And at this point, I want to say that that's the right thing for every young man to do.
That's proper.
Every woman must not be desired.
Yeah,
I want to say that thought is the right thing.
Yeah.
If you're planning to get married, if you're planning to bring in somebody's daughter into your life and do life with the person, you must put things in place
so
to make the
we're
person.
not saying that our own is a standard, is never a standard.
So you must put things in place to make the person comfortable. The truth is this.
More comfortable, show the word.
Okay.
If possible, if you can.
Yes.
If
to be more comfortable
than where she's coming from.
Yes. If you can. I want to say at this point that was one of the things that gave me peace to express myself the way I did, because I was not struggling with a man that was not willing to go overboard for me. I was seeing that this man wants all these things he's doing is for me. No, he has been living here at least for 2 years without pressuring anybody or pressuring himself.
I know we're talking about the wedding first, but let me say this. Funny enough, when she came into that same place, if you had come to that apartment before our wedding and after our wedding, you know that you can't compare. You can't compare that same room.
So I didn't want him to be under any pressure. That was the truth, because anything that I encourage him to enter into, we will be in that together. One of the scriptures that I was working with as a young person, and I still work with, is that a man's life does not comprise of the things that he has. Every person must know that it's not who are you, I have 3 plots of land. Who are you, I have a lot. Those things are good, of course they are good, but that's not the quality of your life.
So if you are going to make choices and it's going to be based on what you can see with the physical eyes, you're actually missing it, and you need to retrace your steps.
You'll be entering one chance.
You're missing it. Seriously missing it.
Okay, back to our gist. So he was making that plans. I didn't want to stop him. I had suggested that we should leave it when we finish our wedding and see the outcome, that we can now go and rent a house. He said nah. He now dragged out our spiritual father, very loving dad. He dragged out our spiritual father and the wife. They followed us to be looking for house. Where did we not enter? Anywhere we enter, I was saying, I don't like this place. I know that somebody would have misunderstood me. I was saying, I don't like this house. I don't like this house. And that was my way of buying time. And before we knew what was happening, we couldn't find anyone before the wedding. And we went back to that house because I wanted us to stay there. Free water, free electricity, cheap rent, and I'll go and be looking for
access to everything. If you want a shop,
then I'll leave that place and go to a house that is more convenient in quotes, and that I will now be trusting God, fasting and praying for rent. That's for me. I won't do that for now. All right, so we kept going back and forth. We couldn't agree on anything because our interests were parallel, 2 parallel lines. They were not agreeing to meet until one fateful service. President, this one is for the DC. President General. God bless Daddy UC for us.
Amen.
So that's faithful service, as if it was our relationship problem that he used us. I can't even remember the topic or anything.
I can't
but he was just using us as instance. He kept insisting that it is not correct that you put yourself under pressure for any reason
at all.
You can plan ahead. You can be. Oh my God. He kept talking and talking.
Those you are planning to impress them.
Yes. Some of those people that you were planning to impress, they don't send your papa. And even if they do, they will not be happy that you are going through loan to impress them. That's the proof that they really care.
Yeah.
So after that service, and he called me and told me that he has been delivered. That was his exact word, that today's service is deliverance.
This Uncle Bremen.
He said, the way I excited, that was how excited he was.
That Jesus was preaching deliverance. It's not every deliverance that they lay hands on your father. He preached deliverance.
So our spiritual father that day preached deliverance, and my man of God got delivered. He rolled that 7 times and was liberated. So he said, no, that's all these things, no. And for the first time, we started making plans for our wedding. So I think this one now, I didn't know that he was a great planner. He now brought out Guinea.
I have skills in event plan.
Any day.
Actually, I've really had opportunities where I planned big events, and leadership is one blessing that if peradventure you had the opportunity to be called into leadership, you are really blessed and favored by God. So at this point, I would mention my first opportunity and privilege to plan a very big event was in our campus days.
Okay.
When I was assistant zonal coordinator, so we are going to plan for a convention that will be 4 days, and
that time it was a big one.
We had 9 tertiary institutions that were going to attend. So it was something, and then it wasn't the president that would plan for it, he's the assistant coordinator. He wasn't the coordinator.
So you actually planned
everything. When I saw the budget, it was so overwhelming. Being a student, final year student, had your project, had other things to do, and at that time, so that was the first experience I had of planning. You do know what it means to gather up to maybe let's say 2,000 students. You're going to feed them for 4 days, or more than 2,000 students. You're going to feed them for 4 days, and the registration fee is nothing compared to what they're going to spend. So God really used that. Every leadership position is a training ground. So don't neglect. Whenever God calls you, don't run away from it. So actually, I've actually been pruned and being trained by God. And then when it came to my own event many years after, I saw the event, and it was something else. Humanly speaking, I didn't know where I was going to get the money. They were talking about the wedding itself. We're not talking about paying the dowry, doing the traditional stuff. What God did for me, what God did for me.
So is you the man that God did for the time?
God did not allow me to see shame.
Yes.
What God did for me. If I talk about the wedding, the traditional, the payment of the rights and everything.
He said that they are coming on Sunday.
To do small thing.
And I heard that information on Saturday. That they are I didn't know my father was even aware. So that was the introduction. Then when it was now time, he now told me that they are coming to do maybe half
on your head. They are not small thing on my head. Sorry. So we plan to do small thing on her head.
Okay.
And then,
so he said they were going to do small thing. And I asked him, okay, knowing, and we were open. We were open.
I have not
we are still
the first thing I saved from
that's where I'm coming to. So we were open, and I asked him, how much do you have? You know, mention one ridiculous less than 20,000 naira.
It was not
amount.
In 1920 or 1930
2021
or 1950. It was just few years ago.
Amount that is less than 20,000. And I'm asking you, is it this one we pay transport? You don't have car.
And the direct from our list is close
it's
to
almost half a million.
Half a million.
Yes, it was half a million.
That's the main thing, not other wish.
I was this guy they were serious. This guy is this man of God.
Are you joking?
Okay, at that time we're not even a pastor, we're just a brother in the fellowship. I said, what the one who's serious becoming, and the thing was not even funny that period, but he kept saying that the Lord said he should do fast. This is not my first time of trusting the Lord, but I'm going to learn to trust your Lord. They are not the same. I was already a believer at the time, and I've started hearing from the Lord. Of course, that was how we even made an agreement that this wedding was going to happen before my next birthday. So, but this time around, I'm entering into a marriage to begin to trust a man and his own experience with the Lord. So he said, that was it. I said, okay. I now said, I will not give you shishio, because at that time I was working and I was not doing one job, not two, not three. So I was getting money.
Plenty.
Yes, I was getting money, and I'm still getting money, man.
Amen.
So I was getting I was getting money. COVID did not stop me. In fact, my office said we could work from home. So I became free. I took other jobs and added to myself, And I said, I will not give you shish. Giving you money now means that I'm the one marrying myself.
And I will not collect from anybody to give. I will
not collect from anybody to give. So you go come and marry me first.
Yeah.
When we now start the wedding plans, I will now know if I can come in. Oh God, that was what I did though. I don't know if it is right or wrong. Whatever you think, just help me out in the comment section. To be honest, that was my ideology. That is my ideology. I said I will not marry.
No, they talk about African men and their mentality. This one, African woman.
Before they
want to behave like the white.
All those ones that there is a quarrel now, the man will not say, he did not contribute. I have shame. Not contribute 1 naira. I have shame.
You don't behave. No, what I mean by behaving like the white guy, something I heard about stories where women they
married themselves.
African woman.
I will not get there.
That's by the way.
So on that day we went to the village. And as the amount was coming out of me, I was in a room with my grandma. So a text message popped up. I don't know if you still remember that text message that you sent me. So, but let me tell you, because some of those things mean so much. He now said, I don't want to say broke man, but somebody I'm imagining how he's going to cope sent me a message and he said, there's no amount of money that they call here or they demand here that is what's your value. I will pay it over and over and over again.
I said that. Thank God there was no AI there.
Jesus,
you would have accused me that
I'm telling you, that thing melted my heart. Said, your worth is far more than any amount. Because my uncles are fun. That they are calling here. I just looked at them. I don't know how many times I read that message that day. My grandma was even talking. I don't think I was even paying attention to her again. And after a while, and after hearing, here's my wife. Here's my wife. Where's my wife? I say, what is going on? Your wife, in my mind, watch how I was then I told your wife, And they say they have signed everything, that he has paid everything.
Done deal.
And I want to say at this point that God showed up for him.
I was showing up.
He did not borrow.
Let me say. It's not just, sometimes actually God will show up at the 11th hour, and then I feel that at that 11th hour is like this man upstairs here. He likes that 11th hour on, so I can take all the glory. Nobody will share the glory with him. So actually, some of those interventions came less than 48 hours to that time, that particular time we fixed with our in-laws. So it wasn't that they came a week before, a month plus,
or that you saved money up before that.
Nothing like that. So actually, God.
So you kept trusting the Lord.
11th hour.
See a date.
11th.
Brother, go and put the date too. Go and put the date. Go and fix date. Okay, and I remember I told you, before I said yes, I told him, I said, I'm not desperate to marry. That's the truth. I know that agreeing with the Lord may make you feel I'm desperate. I wasn't desperate to marry, but I didn't want to wait for money. That's
that money is the least. When they talk about currencies, there are so many currencies, and
assuming
money
yes,
is considered the least.
Assuming your parents or any of my dad or anybody said no, you cannot go ahead with this wedding, I was willing to wait and pray through the journey.
Yeah.
But you see that one, they say they don't have money.
I have money to do this.
And then the standard and righteous virtue that you are trying to manage to uphold, everything is watering down by the day, because love is like white fire. It doesn't get enough. Before you know what is happening, the wedding is not coming. Kiss have started. They have introduced kiss from here. The other things have started creeping in, because Satan is quite crafty. Before you know what is happening, Jesus' daughter have carried pregnancy.
Delay can be avoided.
So I didn't want all those
Delays can be avoided.
Yes.
Some of the things that are delaying you actually.
They're looking for food and drink.
If people tell you their stories, I may not even be the perfect example, but if they tell you their stories, you see that you are far better.
You should have gotten married 4 years ago.
Some of my single friends, I told them, there's some of them I caught and I asked them, what do you spend in a day? What do you spend in a week? What do you spend in a month? When they mentioned that amount, I told them that, do you know that sometimes your budget as a single person will be double or triple of what
married
someone spent in marriage?